Okay, now let's get more specific on how to actually set up and do a job and where you put each product and why. Okay, probably the biggest, most misunderstood thing about laser measuring is that we want to put the laser where you have the least amount of targeting. In many cases, you can shoot the majority of a kitchen or all of it without any targets whatsoever. The fact that you'd have to set up a target and get it out of the box, put it back in, you don't want to leave it at the job site. Okay, so let's put the laser where you don't need any targets. Now you'll see an L shape here, and that could be either a full height cabinet there, or in this case it's a refrigerator. So in this case here, I'm going to come over here, and the best position for the laser in this job would be somewhere in this neighborhood here. For example, I have an easy angle here, an easy one there, everywhere. Really don't have a problem with any of these angles, and this is 30 feet of top here, okay? And one other thing to remember, important to remember, is that if you take your position in the room, just give it a couple seconds, walk around and say, what can I see from here? Be the laser, just rotate, so that's easy, that's easy. You're going to have maybe one or two hard angles, fine, leave them alone. You can do that rather than target 5 things. Have one targeting situation that might be a little more difficult, where you might have to use the pin targets for a bad angle or whatnot. Sometimes you're going to have a bad angle. It depends on how it's laid out. For example, if I had an island here, I'd have to shoot over the island, and then in that case use these type of targets so I could shoot over the island and hit the front of this one, because the base units are the same height. Laser's level. Okay. The next most important thing is to know what you need to do before you start. You'll undoubtedly have some type of worksheet, or if you're using the Samsung computer and it's been loaded from the night before, you'll have the job conditions. What do I have to do? What's happening here? What type of material? You know, is it going to get a splash? You know, whatever, all that stuff. Know what you're going to do before you start, okay? And we're going to get into protocol a little later, where your company's going to use some of the items, or maybe all of them, that we offer in terms of what this can do. But we're going to show you all those products now, so that you can pick and choose from which ones you think fit best in your particular situation. Okay, the first thing we want to talk about is the targets themselves. Okay, now we went into it a little bit in terms of the clamp target onto a cabinet base. Very simple. You could also use one of these on the cabinet base if you so desired. Okay. The only difference is this allows you to get some kind of an offset manually rather than in the computer. Next, the pin targets, again, important for bad angles. So you're going to see, if you're going to set it up, fine, have a couple bad angles and the rest no targets at all, rather than having 10 or 15 targets out there. It's crazy. You don't need that. All right? So let's talk about this over here. If I was to set this down in this position, which I think is probably the best for what we're doing here, I'm going to turn on the laser here and show you that once you set this down, you have to worry about leveling it a little bit. But here, I want to shoot between this, these drawers and the top. So I'm going to raise this up a little bit. So I get right between there, see? Now, if you get a little reflection here, because we're going to talk about that, just pull out the drawer, so you get that easy shot there. And you can see, I can see here, there, and basically what would happen here is we would hit a point there, a point here, a point there, a point down there, one over here, and one way down here. Then, in this case, over here, what I would more than likely do, if this was a cabinet base or whatever, I would just put 2 targets here, like this, one there and one there. Now, this allows me to get a nice straight edge. I could use something that's already there. If I wanted to go up to a refrigerator or something and match that, it might not be 90. Again, this isn't artificial intelligence. It's not going to tell you, the laser is going to tell you what to do. The customer has to be involved in some of that. Okay. Okay, also, always on cabinet bases, make sure you only hit 2 points per base. That gives you a straight line. If you scribe a cabinet base, you know how the cabinets go, they're all crooked. And then when you machine that profile, it's going to have a faceted edge on it, which you can see. You don't want that. Now, and there's a case where you have to talk to the customer. I mean, you know, I'm going to tell you how you do your business, but if that cabinet base varies in and out a quarter or half inch, she's not going to have 1.5 inch overhang everywhere, and you need to tell her that. Okay? Very simple. Say, just like if you had a straight edge here, it's not much different than any manual templating. I'm going to put 1.5 inch here, Mrs. Smith, and there, and it's going to vary slightly in between, but you know, and you can actually tell her what it would be. Okay. All right. So now we talked about where to put the laser. Give it a few minutes because it'll save you a lot of time later if you put it in the right spot. Okay. Now back to leveling. Let's go over here. We talked about setting the tripod up so you know what to do here in terms of leveling it. Now, once I shoot this, for example, this is matching really good here. Okay, all the way along from there back to here. Now, if I look at my level on the top of the black box there, it's right in the middle. So therefore, it's safe for me to say that this cabinet base situation is level. Now, if it wasn't shimmed like it is, and it was flat, okay, I could adjust the laser to match that. Yes, we can tell if it's flat. Yes, we can tell if we need shimming or not. But more importantly, we can tell the customer that it's not level. Okay? And if you did level this, hit a point here, went around there, you'd show the customer how much out of level that cabinet base is, specifically. It's pretty neat because, again, we're one of the only ones out there that will be able to check for both level and flat. Okay, so positioning, as we said, is important. And it'll eliminate a lot of use for extra targets once you get going.